So as many have predicted, this is happening. This is a statement that, of course, could be slightly exaggerated, that the amount of people searching and talking about the Epstein files and our president's involvement in it have absolutely plummeted since the start of Operation Epic Fury or the war in Iran. This war, which of course happened quickly with Trump's actions and without congressional approval, is just a farce. It is a distraction, and it is one of the many times Trump has done a look over there so he could do whatever he wants over here, as my mother would say so eloquently. Specific facts about this are that we are in this not for ourselves, but to distract everyone from what Trump has done and the Epstein files that may indict him in something horrible, and the fact that Israel has asked us to. The claim that we are in this war for the sake of causing an Iranian regime change, or that we care about the people of Iran, is a very easy point to say and say that, oh, we're the good guys, but it's not the case. There are many evidence and points pointing to this. The main one is that in our presence there in the first few days, we already killed children. In a misfire, which is now in a preliminary investigation done by the Pentagon and done by levels of our government, have said that it was our Tomahawk missile that killed or struck an area where there was school children inside of a compound that once was labeled as a military area. It's likely a result of bad and old U.S. information on the area, and this area that was blown up was a girls' school. So the main people killed in this were little girls, and the death count in there right now is somewhere between 165 and 175 people, with most of them being children. So the idea that we're going to Iran to help them is quickly disproven by the fact that we have already killed some of their children. And yes, you could say it's a mistake, it's a misfire, but that misfire and mistake would not have happened if we did not directly attack Iran before Iran attacked us. And to double up on that point, here are some different sources, and you could see them all over the internet, suggesting that the Pentagon, in a meeting with Congress, told Congress, hey, there was no evidence that Iran was going to attack us first. And these claims from both Israel and members of the United States side that says there was an imminent attack, there was imminent terror threats, seems to be malarkey. It seems to be something that was fabricated and something that is just simply used to make us think we are doing the good thing, we're defending ourselves, instead of just starting an unsanctioned war, because again, Trump did not get congressional approval, to go and attack Iran and kill people and cost American lives. As I said in the video earlier, when I checked last week, we'd already lost 6 American lives, soldiers that should be going home to their family, and are no longer, because in retaliatory attacks after we struck first in Iran, there are now American soldiers dead. Some of the most important people in our society, the veterans and soldiers who go over to these godforsaken places to try and defend American lives, end up getting killed for a war they did not sign up to start. So the idea that we are in this war for the right reasons does not make any sense. Iran was not going to attack us first. We've already killed innocents. We killed their leader, who for ages has been the leader associated with nuclear, not disarmament, but at least neutrality. He was old. Khomeini was an old man. He was not focused on blowing up the United States. Yes, he had the radicals. Yes, there's radicals in Iran who hate the United States. But these sanctions that absolutely crushed Iran's economy, the history of Iran that focused on the U.S. interfering when they wanted to interfere and ruining things, made the Iranian former regime very complicit in what was happening with the nuclear restrictions in the development of uranium, as evidenced here. And I will drop more sources for it below. We have since killed that leader and left alive his son, who is younger, who's more radical, and who is nuclear hungry. So imagine in our negotiations for peace, we say this. Imagine someone came into the United States, and it would be awful if someone killed our leader, our president, and then killed the 3 highest ranking people in the government, and then said, are you guys ready to negotiate with peace for us now? No. The United States military would rise up and do everything it could to not only avenge the fallen, but to gain victory after. The same thing is happening in Iran. We say that we're trying to achieve peace, achieve a regime change, but we're killing members of the government top to bottom. There is no nation in the world where leaders are wiped out top to bottom without warning, without negotiation, without diplomacy, where people are guaranteed to rise up and say, yes, I'm so glad this happened. Yes, there are bad leaders. Yes, Maduro was an example in Venezuela of a horrible leader. But the idea that, 1, it's even our job to do that is ridiculous, and 2, expecting people, especially from a country that already has soured opinions of the United States, to say, thankfully, it's all done. Thankfully, it's gone, and we're gonna be peaceful now and be now in the United States, doesn't make any sense. This war that is done for a regime change didn't have a plan. I don't know if the United States leaders and the military leaders thought we would go in there and we would be welcomed with open arms after changing their government, but that's not the case. There is violent fighting, and now there's been many civilian casualties because of the fact that we're blowing up oil fields. We're blowing up all sorts of areas of Iran, and we've already killed many members of their government, which is further radicalizing the people of Iran. And if anyone anyone studied history, they'd know that back in the 50s, there was a democratically elected Iranian official who wanted to nationalize their oil. After Operation Ajax, a CIA operation that is now declassified, the U.S. CIA went in to help British Petroleum overthrow this guy and put in a U.S. plant. That U.S. plant was overthrown and directly led to the extremism of the Ayatollah and everything that followed with the Islamic Republic of Iran. If you know the history of Iran, you know that when the U.S. gets involved and decides to cause a regime change, it automatically leads to more radicalism and to more people wanting to hate the United States in Iran. So thinking that that's going to be different now because we're killing a different leader is useless. If you do not study history, you are doomed to repeat it. And we are once again in that case. And all of that to come back to my initial point of this. Iran wasn't going to attack us. It doesn't make sense to our point of we're going to cause a regime change by killing everyone and thinking they're going to welcome us with open arms. We are there for Israel, not for us. The only people within ballistic range, the only nations within ballistic range of Iran is Israel. There's no reason for the United States to be going over there bulldozing, acting like there was any threat, when intelligence agencies on both Israeli and U.S. sides say there wasn't likely a chance Iran was planning an attack on us. Again, we have one of the best intelligence systems in the world, and our ally is maybe the greatest intelligence system in the world, with Israel's Mossad. And all that brings us back to the fact that this is all about the Epstein files. The fact that our president is likely a pedophile, at minimum a pedophile protector, and has used his power and his life to try and push forward whatever he's wanted and got away with everything. And now he's used his presidency to try and sweep the Epstein stuff under the rug, despite running on a policy, or at least on the campaign promise, that he would release the files and that he would stand on them and all this and all that. But then his name started to come up a lot according to the Department of Justice, and now we're here, where this is happening. Files that may include accusations against Trump, files that do include photos of Trump are slowly being removed from the public files that are released. And there's other sources, which I cannot confirm are completely valid, that state that there's many more files to be released that directly cite accusations against Trump, which are no longer going to be released as everyone is distracted with this war that Trump started illegally. A war that, again, has killed little girls, which I shouldn't have to keep saying, but is the case. And the worst part is all of this could have been avoided, not only by the fact that we could have just not been in this war, but seconded by the fact that in order to avoid civilian death and casualty during military operation, Congress funded and started a Pentagon office that was focused on the limitation of attacks on civilians and limiting civilian casualties. But the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, since being placed in office by recommendation of Donald Trump last year, has underfunded and undermined this office, which means that there's been less focus on military operation being able to be conducted without civilian casualty. And that's because of Pete Hegseth, who's only in that position because of Trump and because of the fact that he was once a Fox News host and is another Trump bootlicker. There is a plethora of points as to why this war doesn't make sense. I've said what I've said about Iran not planning to attack us. The fact that we've already killed people in this goal towards overthrowing the regime. In the history of Iran, anytime the U.S. has gotten involved, the regime has gotten more radical. The people that represent this regime have gotten more radical against the United States. It's history, and repeating history is stupid when you know the bad result. And all this is a cover-up, and the fact that it could have been avoided because of the fact that people literally started offices in Congress, in the Pentagon, to avoid civilian casualties. They were underfunded by a person who's uneducated and shouldn't be in that position, appointed by Trump. And my final point, of course, is that all of this is a distraction from the fact that our president is covering up the fact that he is, at bare minimum, hiding what happened during the time of Epstein, even though he's the president and should be the greatest representation of our country, and is instead a representation of one of the worst things a human can be, which is a child abuser. This was going to be a call to action, but unfortunately, this guy is our president, and he has protections, and there is no way to prosecute him. But I just want you to look within yourself. It doesn't matter what political party you're a part of. It doesn't matter what side you voted on your whole life. I don't care if you're a leftist. I don't care if you're MAGA. I don't care where you fall in that spectrum. There's lines to this, and we all agree that American soldiers don't need to be dying for a war that doesn't threaten us, that doesn't benefit us in any way. Right now, everything is hurting. The Strait of Hormuz closure has caused gas prices to shoot through the roof, and they're expected to shoot even higher this next year. So affordability is going away. Relations with the different countries is going away. Peace is going away. All the things that Trump ran on, top to bottom, are not happening, and they're going against everything he said. And if you can continue to support a guy who feels this way, I just ask you to look within yourself and ask if this is the America you want to live in, where we are asking so much extra sacrifice of the people who have already made the ultimate sacrifice by joining the military and the armed forces and trying to go challenge nations around the world, asking them to now directly give their lives for a conflict that no one of us got to vote on, a conflict that was started illegally, without the congressional approval and Trump just relying on the fact that he's in the executive branch and has a lot of power. If you're able to accept that, if you're able to accept everything, I just want you to look within yourself and continue to question it, because the direction we're heading is very scary. And it's not me being a doomer. It's just that I want more Americans to live and less wars to be fought and less money to be wasted and more things to affect the affordability of our country and the safety of our country without killing innocent people that did not ask to die. So I am aggressive. I'm loud. I know. I just want you to do research for yourself and listen and look at the things I've given you and hope that it does click with you that this is not the man who we should be supporting. Thank you.